a lot of people look at wholesaling as a easy means into getting into real estate or quitting their 9 to 5. But Tom's done it. Some investors are doing it to find their own deals. Like you're opening up a big opportunity for other people to get into that space if you're leaving it here in Chicago. But for people that are interested in wholesaling, get into it. Like, kind of give us the couple things of like if you're going to do this, you got to know you have to know this about wholesaling, and if you're going to be successful, you have to know this. So, kind of give us a couple minute rundown on that and what made you successful there.
Yeah. So I first started wholesaling right out of college. I got an engineering degree and was working for a top 50 company, and I just wanted a way to kind of control my own fate. So I started wholesaling on my own in the beginning and very quickly scaled that up till I realized that I can't run everything. The problem with the wholesaling industry is that it's still a job, right? If you don't wake up every day and go to work, all of a sudden cash flow stops. So if you're going to scale a business, you really need to bring in other individuals to help participate, team members, new acquisition guys, transaction coordinators. Running a couple deals at a time is easy, but as soon as you have 5, 10, 15 deals going at the same time, things can start getting jumbled. And in the end of the day, you got to remember the reason we're doing this is to provide a solution for these sellers that they otherwise wouldn't be able to have, get out of properties quick and, save their credit. So you got to really make sure that you're living up to the promises you make, because your reputation is going to precede you. So one of the few keys that really helped me out, number one, is never stop marketing. The first mistake I see a lot of new guys starting with is they'll turn on the juice for a little bit. They'll get a few deals and they'll tone it back. Or if they start losing some money or not making as much as they thought, the very first place they'll cut is marketing. And that's the opposite of what you should do. If you're not hitting projections, you should double down. And if you don't have the money to do that, take out debt for your marketing. Because in the end of the day, wholesaling isn't a real estate company. It's a marketing company. So if you don't have that advertising, that marketing going out all the time, you're gonna set yourself up for failure, especially because you don't realize you got to really be in tune with your metrics. What you'll realize is every dollar you spend today may not really come into the bottom line until 3, 4, 5 months from now, if not longer than that. So you don't really feel the immediate effects of stopping on the advertising. I think last year we just clipped over about $175,000 a year just in direct mail to owners around the Chicagoland area. And you don't have to start with that amount, but you got to set a target and make sure that you're staying consistent. If it's, $1,000 a month, make sure you're doing that every month for the next, 18 months. If it's $5,000 a month, just got to stick with it. Cause those are some of the issues that I had to learn to get through in the beginning of my career was, when the goings were good, everything was good. And then all of a sudden we stopped marketing and then we started losing deals.
So Fernando, if I'm a new investor, I'm looking to either attract deals for my own portfolio or to wholesale. Do you suggest direct marketing? Do you still feel like that's a good means to find? And then what were some of the key points you were looking at? What were some of the metrics of, whether it be equity, location, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we found is that when you're going after these sellers, and the more time that you can get in front of them, the more touch points you can get, that's where you're going to win the deal. So on average, it takes 12 to 16 touch points. And those touch points can be a letter, a phone call, them visiting your website, them seeing a piece of social media advertising, what have you. Direct mail has always done really well, especially for the age group that typically responds well to these types of letters. So, typically this is someone close to retirement age. They have a lot of equity in their house. They've been in the same place for 10 plus years. So we've always had a base of direct mail going at any given time, and then try other strategies on top of it to supplement. Text messaging was good for a while, then became basically illegal. So we had to shut that down because of the TCPA. Cold calling worked really well. Then, the carrier started cracking down on our various phone numbers. So we had to rotate phone numbers like every 2 weeks, buy new phone numbers, burn old ones. Direct mail is kind of the least intrusive, and it's also the easiest for someone to save. I can't tell you how many times we've had individuals call in and say, I got your letter 6 years ago, and now is finally the time for us to sell. And I just happen to have it in my, filing cabinet for the last 6 years. So we really like the physical letter, but the key is to have a comprehensive marketing strategy in place to attack these leads from every angle. The other thing that you mentioned is, this is a full-time job, finding deals off market. So if you're an investor that wants to go out and start sourcing your own deals, you got to realize that you're going to be spending a lot of money and a lot of time sourcing these deals, because it's a numbers game, right? For every 1,000 people that call in, you may only get 10 to 15 contracts, and that costs a lot of money and time. So unless you're doing high volume, it usually does not make sense for an individual investor to start trying to self-market to these owner occupants and to these, direct sellers, because I'm just going to beat you to the punch. I'm going to blow you out of the water, and it's not going to make sense for return on your investment. Now, if you're someone like you guys and some of the people in your network where, you're doing 5+ deals a month, then it makes sense to open up an entire arm on the marketing side, because again, this is a marketing company. It's a whole separate company from your other real estate ventures.
The changing up the phone number sounds like my bookie before I went online, but about 20 years ago now.